Hello sweet Jan fam, welcome back to my channel, welcome to my bathroom. I'm wearing a robe because one, I just ordered it and it got here and I'm excited. Two, I think it's the cutest thing that I've owned. It's such a pretty color, it's got all these beautiful little shells. Oh, but I jumped out of the shower and I was getting ready and I was like, you know what if I just walked into my room today, because I love it. So I will link it below if you want to check it out. Let me see. So today's video is a Q&A video. I wanted to catch up and give you just a life update because a lot has been changing in my world, like a lot pretty quickly too. So I told you guys about this diagnosis for Hashimoto's. I found that out. I was here for 1 week and then I went away for a week. We were in St. Lucia for my friend's birthday and then now I'm back here and I'm just gonna be here for a couple weeks and just be still before I have any more trips coming up. I did start vlogging St. Lucia and then I stopped. So it was kind of lame that I did that, but truly I just needed a break. I needed to sleep, I needed to be in the sun, I needed to be around good people and just turn off from work for a second. So that is exactly what I did. But today we're gonna catch up with some juicy questions, you guys, on Instagram. I put a box up, you sent me a ton, and let's just get straight into them. I'm gonna do as many as I can, as fast as I can, and as honest as I can. So let's start with question number one. Is this, how do you hope to be remembered? That's actually a really good question. I haven't actually thought about it. I do think of there's a Casting Crowns song and I can't exactly think of the lyrics, but it's like, I don't care how they remember me, only Jesus. So honestly, like that, like it's not about me, it's never been about me. Nothing I do is going to leave a mark in the world that is anything I could do, like anything good that comes from me, any gifts, any talents, anything is all from Jesus. So that's, I guess, my answer. How has traveling been going so far? It's been going good, honestly. I needed it. I feel like I have just been going non-stop for so long and kind of all makes sense why I have been not feeling well and so tired and exhausted. And I think sometimes just getting into a new environment is the best way to get your momentum back. Just get away from your normal, get away from what you're used to, get around people that will pour into you and encourage you. And of course, this place that we went to, St. Lucia, guys, it was beautiful. I mean, look at this. I'm gonna put it right here on the screen, but how stunning is this place? It's unbelievable. And there were these mountains. We didn't hike the mountains, but we got to learn a lot about it and explore some of the beautiful places. The people were awesome, the food was awesome. Would go back. Thoughts on Botox. Okay, I have some interesting thoughts on this. So you guys may not know, but I'm actually also an orofacial myologist, which means somebody who has done quite extensive training in the muscles of the face. I used to do a lot of, myobrace and that type of thing with children and also adults. So I've studied a lot about it, and I myself have been getting Botox. I think I actually started when I was young, too young. I remember I think my dad did it one of the first times ever, and it was my gummy smile. It was right before I got married, and I was so embarrassed of my gummy smile. So you see, so a gummy smile is basically when you show the gums above your teeth when you smile. It's beautiful, and for the longest time I hated it. In fact, for probably nearly 10 years I Botoxed it, and I just think when I look back at old pictures now, it just feels unnatural, and I'm like, you know what, let's just earn your natural beauty. Here's my thoughts on Botox and filler. I haven't had lip filler. That's all I've had done in my face is lip filler, and I haven't had that done in probably a year and a half, and I don't think I will do it again. And if I do, it's going to be very far in the distant future. And Botox I haven't had in over 6 months now, and again, the same thing. And I'll tell you why I've changed my thoughts on this. As somebody who studied this, I understand what it means to paralyze a muscle or to use different muscles, and basically it will thin the tissue above it. There's a lot of research about what are the long-term effects of Botox and filler, and the filler not completely dissolving and all of these things, blocking your lymphatic pathways. Botox is a toxin, da 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 da. There's just so many things that honestly my body has gone through enough. If I want to just detox and get as healthy as I can, that is an easy thing that I can kind of cut out for now. I'm actually gonna maybe do a whole video on this because I have a lot to share and a lot that we can probably speak about. We will come back to that. Someone said, do you love Taylor Swift? My answer is no. I've never been a Taylor Swift fan ever. And I know you're like, oh, gasp, shock, horror, how could you not love Taylor Swift? I'm like, well, one, the first reason was that my first ever boyfriend loved her, and I think little 13-year-old me was jealous, and that was kind of where it started. But now, like, as I've gotten older, I think there's been a lot of things that she's been involved in, darkness and like openly promoting witchcraft and the occult that I'm just not gonna stand behind. A lot of Christians I know are like, well, she's fine, like we love her. And I'm like, well, do your research, pray about it. I've never been a fan, and it's not something that I would promote or really listen to. You can definitely argue with me in the comments over that, but I don't have a lot more to say. Someone said, where exactly are you staying this upcoming months? Please come back to Miami. We miss you. Well, right now I'm in a place called St. Augustine and it's beautiful. It's right on the water. I told you I just needed to get away for a couple months and I'm still looking at buying property. Unfortunately, you just can't rush these things. So my answer is probably somewhere by the beach. I don't see myself going back to Miami right now. I just don't want to be in the city at all. I've just loved walking on the beach. I love being away from everything. I love the stillness. I just love the quiet. I love just all of that has come with being further away from the city. Not to say I'll never go back to the city because y'all know I am somewhat of a city girl. I love to dress up, but yeah. Someone said, upcoming projects. Guys, we need to talk about this. This has been my passion project for way too freaking long. So this is a xylitol dental mint. So this is my pride and joy. This has been something that I believe personally is going to change the game when it comes to oral health, when it comes to dentistry. So basically most of the time when we eat and we drink, we will decrease the pH in our mouth. So when you have a lower pH in your mouth, you're actually more susceptible to decay. This actually remineralizes your teeth. So after you've eaten or you've drink, after you eat or you drink, you actually have this, and this will actually put the minerals back into the teeth. So calcium phosphate. It's awesome. It has real freeze-dried strawberries, so it's all naturally sweet and there is nothing artificial about this. I think this is gonna change the game, and then honestly, so addictive. I do not think I've really been more proud of anything in my life than this project. And I will definitely share more with you guys later, how you can access it, all of these things. But that's it. Super proud of this one, honestly. Someone says, I feel like quitting, abandoning my dream, the path is too hard. Well, first off, this is me giving you a huge hug and telling you just one more day. And then tomorrow, it's just one more day. And then the day after, it's just one more day. Just keep going, because this is my experience, is that when you are walking the way that you're meant to walk, which means you're walking in a healthy way, which means that you have people around you you're pouring into, when you're seeking the kingdom, when you're on your knees, when you're praying for, you know, God's will to be done in your life, slowly things will start to shift. And it doesn't mean that everything is going to make sense, because most of the time it doesn't. The thing I've struggled with the most in this adult journey is really understanding that God's plans are not my plans. You know, 6 years ago in Australia, I was married, I was doing dentistry, and now I'm in Florida in a beach house doing totally different businesses. It has nothing to do with it, and it's not where I would have expected you. I would never, even for $1 million, guess this is where I'd be. It's okay, God has a plan, and I want to encourage you in that. Keep showing up, just keep being faithful, and don't ever quit chasing that dream. If you have a dream in your heart that God's put there, if it's something that aligns with your gifts and the calling on your life, then go for it. Don't quit. It might take longer. And I think so often we're used to this immediate gratification, right? Like for me, I remember whenever I was seeing patients, I think I've talked about this before, but there was a day where I pulled out 7 teeth on a kid and my heart just broke, and this dream was born on that day when I was sitting there, and I was like, I want to create a pediatric dental product that is going to facilitate the remineralization of their teeth and to make them want to brush their teeth and get into these habits and change their outlook on the dental industry, right? Not be phobic, not be scared, not hate the dentist, but rather enjoy it. And then look at all these years that have gone past now. Like it's like nearly a decade. And now here I am developing a product that is going to do just that, but it's not within pediatrics. So see how that was like my dream, and then over this span of time, like it got reimagined into something else. Like that to me is just an example of, all right, like if I had quit chasing this dream, like I wouldn't be holding this in my hand right now. So often it's different maybe than what we expected, but doors will open and you learn a lot. And I think 10 years ago, like I had the clinical experience, but I don't think I had the experience in business or entrepreneurship to actually do this on a successful scale. Like I think I would have been able to sell it to my patients, but I maybe wouldn't know how to actually market it, or I wouldn't have had the knowledge to deal with the FDA, to do all of these things that needed to be done. So my encouragement to you is don't quit chasing your dream. It's a dream for a reason, and it might not happen as fast as you want, but keep going, keep pursuing. Just one more day, and I love you. I love you. Update us. Keep us updated. Someone said, how is life? If it's down, what are you going to do about it? And if it's up, what are your future plans? Honestly, that's a great question. I'll tell you the truth. My life right now is in an interesting place because I think I've never been more tired and fatigued, and I've cried a few times when I found out about, you know, all of this medication and how serious my health actually is. And then I think on the other hand, I'm just like, so honestly, I'm just joyful because I feel like the way that we measure success maybe is often monetary or with physical things or with all of these things or tangible things, right? But I think for the first time I'm able to look around and be like, wow, like I have so many answered prayers around me right now, and I'm healthy. You know, I have good friends around me, good community. I have you guys. I have so many different doors that are opening, and you know, it's never going to always be easy. I think it kind of goes back to that quote that I said earlier. It's like one more day, you know, we're gonna have highs and lows. That's just the juxtaposition of life. I think for everything there is a season, everything in time. I think life is often bittersweet, and you can be walking through some of the hardest things in your life, but also some of the most beautiful at the same time. It can be like an interesting array or mix of emotions, but I think for the most part, a lot of things don't make sense to me right now, but I'm also excited and I'm not fearful. Someone said, what it takes to make a living with social media and your journey maybe. That's an interesting one. Well, I kind of fell organically into this space. I never was trying to be an influencer. I was in my final year of university. I was exhausted. I was working 2 jobs. I was doing full-time placement, seeing patients, and I just started for fun, just posting and documenting my travels or my days with my friends and taking fun photos. And then through that, when I graduated, I took over my dad's dental practice. He was my mentor in cosmetic dentistry, and I was in charge of marketing for the practice. So I started posting before and afters of my patients, fillings. I would share some, like, you know, I'd pull a tooth out on a kid and then we would do a little handshake or something silly like that, and basically just started to garner a following that way. We built up the business in a huge way, and then I just started to enjoy the creativity that it allowed. I enjoyed the community that I was able to build, and I was all in. Like I just was traveling. I didn't really know you could make money from it at that point or anything like that. I was just kind of like, this is fun, like this is great, it's a creative outlet for me. And then whenever I found out that my husband was having an affair, I was just devastated. I think that the version of me that was doing dental was honestly like synonymous with a version of me now that didn't exist. So I kind of stepped away and I was just traveling, and then, you know, doors just opened and met people, and ended up moving to the US, and here I am. It's been 5 years. I've loved it. It's been an interesting journey. It's been a good journey. I've been so blessed, and because of the people that have been around me, I've just had a really good experience with it. I think I got to a point maybe where it did start to kind of take over my life, and I think you need to be careful that that doesn't happen, that you aren't just always trying to create content but you're actually still present. And I think that really to me is a big problem with the industry, is that there's such a big pressure on you to stay relevant, to post, that it can be exhausting and draining. And I think that I've really stepped back in the last year. I haven't been posting as much. I've changed my style because I think I'm realizing what actually matters beyond anything, and that is, you know, not just making money. It's not doing these things, but rather being fulfilled, bringing value, building a community, encouraging people, you know, pursuing the dream that God's put on your heart. So all of those things. So what does it take to make it? I would say being original, and then also just persevering. You know, it's like anything. If you have a dream, like, you have to keep going and try different iterations of things, and some things will work, some things will not. I think I look back now at some of my videos that I used to post, and I don't even recognize that girl. Like, I physically do not recognize her because I have changed so much. And I think that's a good thing. You want to be changing, you want to be evolving, you want to be growing, you want to look back at your old stuff and be like, wow, like, you know, in anything, like even if you look back at your paper from high school, I would hope now after this time you can write better, you can communicate better. In any area of life, we always want to be growing and changing, and sometimes that means looking back at your old stuff and being like, oh man, like that was modifying. Let's move on. Let's move on. All right, 2 more questions. Let's do it. Have you ever done plastic surgery? My answer is no. I've never had any surgeries except for my tonsils and my adenoids. I had them taken out. I had both of my shoulders reconstructed, so I have little, if you can see, I'm kind of sunburned right now, but I have little keyhole. There's like 4, I think 4 on one and 3 on the other from that. And that was obviously after I broke my neck. I had those surgeries, all that I've ever had done. I've broken a lot of bones. I've talked about it before. I actually might do a whole video on beauty standards, because when I was younger, I actually broke my nose 3 times. You can see I have a bit of a bump here. And I remember growing up, I was so embarrassed. And I remember that when I was in university, my goal was like, when I graduate, I'm gonna save $10,000 and go get a nose job. That was my goal, that was my aspiration. And I remember when I graduated, I was still paying for my husband's school, so we had to use the money for that. And then, you know, life just kind of happened and it kind of fell away, and I just started to actually love my nose and love my body and understand that a little bump is okay. And I've actually had people come up and say something like, my daughter just saw your nose and she thought that it was really cool that you didn't get it fixed. And I was like taken aback when the mom said that to me, but then I was like, you know what, like how cool, like to actually be able to walk out what you say, which is love your body and accept it and own it and honor it, because it takes care of you and it's a temple, and I have not had any surgeries other than that. Next question, final question, how did you heal after a breakup? Truthfully guys, it took a really long time, and I did it very differently than my first heartbreak, and that was by not chasing the world. So the first time I went through a horrible heartbreak, I just numbed myself out in the way of just keeping so busy. I was traveling, drinking, partying, going out with friends. I wasn't really hooking up with people, like I never went through kind of that phase, but I was in the phase of just like doing anything to cope. And then this time I kind of did the opposite. So this time I was actually still, I took the time to be still with myself, to really figure it out. I had the right people around me to pour into me, to encourage me, to speak life, to pick me up when I couldn't get up off the ground because I was just brokenhearted and honestly like really scared and really sad. And I think I got plugged into a great community, a really, really great church, and I just leaned on God. I focused on my music. I focused on my hobbies. I was like, this is a great time for me to now better myself into the version of the woman that I want to be, to attract the level of the man that I want to be with for the rest of my life. Because I've been vocal about this. Having a family and a serious relationship is very important to me, and you need to make sure that you're with somebody that has those same value sets as you do, so you're not wasting your time. So I think, you know, really figuring that out, really being like, I don't need to distract myself, because it's actually okay to feel lonely. It's actually okay to feel sad, and not just distract myself with the TV or with work or whatever it was. And I think that just like being private about it, like I don't think that everything needs to be shared. I think that being alone and healing and like putting in the work, working on your fitness, working on your health, which ironic when I find out that I have had this autoimmune disease that I didn't know about, but working on my physical fitness, getting into a healthy place, honestly, it's helped me to not just move on, but actually heal. And I think at the end of the day, all you can do is heal. That's all you can do. So again, kind of goes back to earlier, one day at a time. That is my little life update. What's going on? I love you guys. You're awesome. Thanks for sticking with me and doing life with me. I love you. Bye.